You may be thinking to yourself, what the F is going on with the crypto market? Rightly so. There's an old saying, the market takes the most amount of money from the most amount of people. I have found a number one tool against such unexpected and crazy days, and today we'll talk about it. We also have a special guest today that we invited on. Despite the crypto market being down, what is not stopping is the adoption of crypto, and especially the adoption of blockchain gaming, which continues to grow. It continues to have the infrastructure built out and is going to continue its parabolic growth, even if the crypto market prices stay down for a few more months. Our guest today is part of building that needed infrastructure. We'll also have some Kitsu from Kitsumon to give away today, one for our live stream viewers and a challenge for those who missed the live stream but catch the video in time before it. Welcome to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Rain. If you like money and crypto and you're looking for a real investor's take on the crypto market, join the Rainmaker family by liking this video, subscribing with the all notifications bell enabled. Special note, I'm not a financial advisor. This show isn't about financial advice. I'm a crypto investor myself, sharing with you how I think about the crypto market and specific cryptos that I like. I do own or plan to own most of what I talk about on this channel because I don't talk about projects I don't believe in. We want to thank our Patreon members, including our two newest members, Andy, Mobs, and Drama Plug. We have a private Discord that our Patreon members get access to, and there's a link below to our Patreon if it interests you. It is a closed group, so there's even more I'm able to discuss there. I can't in other settings. When you join us there, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. If it says at the beginning this is sponsored content, that's because our strategic relationships with Wanchain and Kitsumon, who have been good to us and given us these goodies to give away, and we'll be giving away some Kitsu today. So make it rain on that like button and strap in for the show. Let's welcome our producer, D Money, joining me from his home studio.
What up, Jay? How's it going?
This is fun.
It is fun. I love being able to do it like this every once in a while. I miss the command center, but it's cool to be here with you, remotely. It's fun. I saw our buddy Chris Ashby says blood red markets and endless FUD. That's what rainmakers are made of. I love it. So what's up, Chris? What's up, 158 Beats, Bernard, Fried Food Rocks? Fried Food Rocks is like, is this live? I can never tell. Yeah, it's live right now. Web Zombies, what's up, guys? So yeah, happy to be here. Yeah, let's get the party started.
Let's do it. Join me, Rainmakers. So just a few months ago, there was a new person who got into crypto named Ted. He came into crypto in October, which saw some growth in the crypto market. He is new. So he pretty much FOMO'd into the gaming sector, which is where a lot of the momentum was at the time. Now, 4 months later, he is down by 60+%. And he is selling his crypto and leaving the space entirely. What is it that Ted is missing? What is it that, unfortunately, Ted doesn't really yet understand? I bet all of you guys know. Crypto tends to run in cycles, even within a greater bull run. He FOMO'd into something that was red hot, and then it cooled on him for a while. In the next run, those same projects will likely go much, much higher. But Ted doesn't know this. He got scared that it will just keep going down. And though they're likely getting close to their bottoms, he so perfectly showed up buying near the top and then panic selling near the bottom. And he showed us what that looks like. Now, probably in the coming months, he'll give some TED Talks on why crypto is terrible and a great way to lose money. Though Ted is actually made up, this scenario isn't, and it's very real. Now, despite some people having bad timing and not understanding how timing is so important in making good gains in this, blockchain gaming will change the world and the world of gaming in general. Now, it's normal what Ted went through, and this whole normal, like after it's red hot, we go through this normal cooling period after so much attention was brought about by Facebook's announcement in the metaverse. Still, blockchain and cryptographic encryption are bringing true ownership to games and gaming and the metaverse, and that will revolutionize the whole gaming space. Part of revolutionizing the gaming space is a new project that brings something special to that space. Myself, I'm extremely curious to really understand how the gaming guilds will play out, especially with blockchain games in true ownership. Now, if you think about it, the games that go huge, the assets in those games will also go huge in price. And gaming guilds will help have the funds to purchase those assets and then loan them to players who can then start with little to no funds as an essential part of that ecosystem. Perhaps even they receive some training and mentoring and coaching from the guild, as well as it becomes a place that they meet new friends. Now, today we have special guests from Infinity Force, and we're going to welcome on this channel Sam, one of the co-founders. Now, Infinity Force is developing some software as a service specifically for the gaming guilds. They have their own test guild so that they can quality test their software, but they're making this for guilds in general, guild management, and making the scholarship programs easy. One of their primary backers is Animoca Brands, and if you have followed my channel for a long time, you know that I give a lot of weight when Animoca Brands invests in a project. Also, they are working with Bright Star Studios, which is the team behind Ember Sword, as well as Planet Quest, to make their guild management systems integrate well with those projects. You may have caught a number of months back, I interviewed Ember Sword, and they are huge gamers themselves that have some crypto background. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being one of the top games in the whole crypto space, because it wasn't crypto people building a game, it was gamers building a game that knew enough that they needed to build it on blockchain, so it would be relevant throughout the next decade. Well, let's welcome Sam on from Infinity Force. Thank you so much for joining us, Sam.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. I mean, that introduction, do I even need to be here? I think you encapsulated the entire project.
Yeah, what you're doing is exciting. Like, I'm excited about where guilds are going, and guilds kind of surprised me, right? I didn't realize this whole need that came about really is Axie Infinity kind of helped push out and make this space become like so that people could understand it. Oh my gosh, you really can play to earn. So guilds started popping up, and with guilds popping up, this created some pain points, right? How do we manage all this stuff? How do we integrate it with games? Which are some of the things that you're working on?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to introduce Infinity Force, in the simplest terms, we connect gamers to guilds and guilds to games. So as Crypto Rain just mentioned, we are the underlying infrastructure of play to earn, really the growth engine of GameFi. The way I would describe the product to all of you is, first, let's imagine you're a player. Maybe you're from an emerging market and you want to play a game like Axie Infinity, which requires a number of NFTs, right, to even join. So there's obviously right there a barrier to entry, right? You need the disposable income to purchase the NFTs, to play, and play to earn. Our platform allows you to come on, apply very seamlessly, and get put into this global pool of other players. Now, imagine you're a micro investor or someone who has their own existing guild. So what you do is you come onto our platform, register in the same way, essentially tell us how much you're willing to invest in NFTs and which game you're interested in playing to earn. Now, we systemize the onboarding and player recruitment process. So we already know about the skill levels of the players. We know about which games they want to play and which are supported on our platform. And we place them on teams with these guilds based on the criteria that they set forth. So now you have a guild or a person who wanted to start a guild who has all of a sudden a team of players. Now, players don't have to go into multiple Discords, applying for scholarships, doing contests on Twitter to get scholarships. They can just come on to our platform and be placed on a team. Now, you may wonder, it's like, okay, so now they're on a team with a guild. Like, what does that mean? How does that serve them? The infrastructure layer that I alluded to takes all the manual burden off of guilds in general. So we just talked about the onboarding process, simple and easy. the training and development that Crypto Rain was talking about involves our Infinity Academy. So each game has different mechanics, as everyone knows, right? Play traditional games. Red Dead Redemption 2, right, is incredibly different from, Call of Duty, or, any sort of comparison that you want to do. So we have the game's resources and top players coming in, working with us and our team to develop the types of tools and resources to not only play those games, but understand our platform and how our platform can support them. So on top of the training and development, we have a treasury of NFTs for each game, where the purchasing comes from the guilds, right? So they purchase the NFTs, they lend them out, and then they share in the revenue of the players who are playing to earn their absolute favorite, and the games that they're super excited about. And then there's the monitoring aspect of the team itself. So you're a guild manager. You're like, okay, what is my team doing? What have they done today? Who's my best player? What can I project out to be my earnings for the month? They have a mobile or desktop integrated platform. They can see everything I just laid out, clear and simple. No longer having to track on spreadsheets. No longer having to write things down on napkins or hold it all in their head or follow up with players. It's all taken care of. And you may ask, how is that possible? Well, we are partnering with a ton of various tech and tools to facilitate that, but we're also doing native integrations with many of our gaming partners. So imagine having not only the Infinity Force platform on the front end of a game, but also tied into the back end. So we're chain agnostic. So we're not built on a blockchain, but all these games may be built on, Ethereum, Binance, all of the other chains, and we can support them all. So through a technology like super oracles, we're able to bridge the gap between off-chain data and data that exists on the blockchain. So all of that's filtered into our backend, powers the platform itself. And then finally, arguably the most difficult part in all of this is the payment processing. So you're a guild manager and you're wondering, how the heck do I pay everyone? Well, it's handled automatically. So players are paid out in their existing or in the game's native token. And it's as simple as that. So hope that covered it. I'm sorry if that was long-winded, but
that was fantastic.
All right.
Loved it. Yeah, great. I was just going to let you keep talking there because I was absorbing the information and loving it. What really grew this idea to create Infinity Force?
Yeah, so that's a fun question. We obviously have been following the space. I've been involved in crypto for a long time, 2014 or so. And when Axie Infinity came out and other games that involved NFTs, even before they were called NFTs, started coming out, I started paying attention to GameFi. And what we saw was, hey, guilds can be made. This process is beautiful because there's so many people that want to play these games and need to earn these games. So we started our own guild and started, with like 10 scholars, and now we're up to 1,500. And what that Infinity Guild served a purpose to guide our product vision, right? So we understood all the manual pain points of managing a guild and talking to players, and we're like, shoot, you really need some help here. We needed our own help. So we built our product several months ago and deployed it into our own guild within Discord and all the automated things that we're talking about. And we just continued to build from there. And really what also grew this idea was this whole community and social aspect. So when COVID hit, you have unfortunately and sadly, so many people losing their jobs and their ways of earning income. And then all of a sudden you have these young 16-year-old, 30-year-old people playing games on their phone and providing for their families, oftentimes more so than what they're earning before. But in those emerging markets, what happens is these games become inaccessible. So that, in a nutshell, is what really inspired us to put the solutions in place, build it from our end, and luckily we're backed by the best and partnered with the best, and we're ready to take off. So
We have a few questions from the audience, which is great about being live. We can take them. So 158 Beats says, what information do players have to submit?
yeah, players, fairly simple information. So the form fill that they have to go through, obviously, involves what game are they interested in playing, what experience do they have in play to earn games, you know where they're from or their native language, so they're placed in a team where that's supported, although we are global. There isn't much like PII involved in this at all, right? We don't necessarily need that. So becoming a player is fairly simple, and this is where able to scale the platform. The scalability is the most difficult part. So we have all these bots conducting the interviews. They have a list of 1,000 or so questions once they move past the registration place, and they're interviewed. And they're interviewed according to some of the set questions, some of the questions from guild managers, and then from there they move on to an interview process with an account manager within our team, and then comes the placement. So we take a very hands-on approach to supporting the player ecosystem and making sure that they are placed on a team that best suits their needs.
Nice. I like it. Fried Food Rocks asks, what games right now is Infinity Force targeting?
Targeting. Maybe the maybe the wrong type of question. Let me answer. I love the question because I'm so excited about the games that we're partnering with. So we have a number of games that we've already announced, but then a number of games that will slowly trickle out because so many are still in development for a couple years and will be coming out in 2022. Obviously, the games that we're going to support on the platform require the NFT lending functionality. Otherwise, our platform doesn't really make sense for them. So we're working with many of the games that Animoca is supporting. As you mentioned earlier, Ember Sword and Planet Quest, that team is rock stars, and we can talk about them a little later if we want. That's an exciting game to be partnered with on our end, but also for all players out there.
Cool. Yeah. So right now the bigger ones that support lending. Now, are there games that already support lending? Like I know Ember Sword has been working to integrate that and trying to integrate with guilds. Are there ones already that have lending kind of natively supported? Because that is the hard thing, right? By hard, it's not actually all that hard, but just having the smart contracts that you can lend stuff out and then you can retract it. Say they don't play for a few days, whatever the agreement is, so that then you can pull that back and give that resource to somebody who will use it.
Yeah, so I think one thing you're getting at here is, are these tools that we are building, are they already within games? And in some cases, they are in really minor ways. That's what we've seen. And it actually helps us a lot when a game already has this idea because they realize that they need a solution to it. And then when games realize that some of these major AAA titles that are being pushed out by game studios that we're partnering with, that we are doing, these custom native integrations, our tech team, their tech teams are getting together and producing, it's going to drive the ecosystem so much further because these other games are going to be really interested in doing a very similar thing. So in terms of the lending process, we haven't seen it too much, but like as this becomes more and more of an issue, and as games want to scale to a global audience, I'm sure that this will be something that they start incorporating. It's pretty difficult to build. Or definitely can be. And so that's why we are doing our best to provide this software as a service to all these games and take away that burden off of the game so that they can focus on what actually matters, and that's the game itself and satisfying their player base. So
Yeah, it's exciting to see where this is going. As somebody who was entrenched in the whole gaming system, where would you guess this is going over the coming 2 years and over the coming 5 years? Blockchain gaming and GameFi, as we're often now calling it.
yeah, so I think GameFi is very much in its infancy. Most people who are familiar with play to earn and GameFi in general really only are familiar with Axie Infinity, and even then, it's a small knowledge base that's around it. So much of this is going to come down to education, right? And what I'm seeing on our end, there's a ton of not only desire to play these games around the world, but there is a lot of capital influx into the whole ecosystem. So gaming in general, is a $200 billion industry, and expected to be like over 350, don't quote me, $1 billion in 2026. So GameFi is absolutely disrupting that, because now you see all the aggregation of some of these major game studios through acquisitions from Microsoft and of Activision Blizzard and so forth. They're all looking into the incorporating this play to earn model, the NFT model. I know the whole world's on fire about NFTs, despite maybe their fundamental lack of understanding around it. But still, the excitement's there. I just think it will come down to education, and what I predict and what we predict, because we're in it for the long haul. Like, this is not a short-term thing. We want to really be the infrastructure layer, not only for GameFi, but for many of Web3 and Web3 business models that will soon to emerge. So I can't predict the future, but I can tell you that I'm very, very bullish on the next 5 to 10 years within GameFi itself.
Because you see massive financing, massive amounts of money coming into space. You see huge desire from people. It's like, wait, I can make money playing video games. Like, I actually made money playing video games back in 2003, back before they started enforcing that you couldn't trade these items on eBay. You literally earn these items in a game. I played this one called EVE Online, and you could sell them on eBay, and then you could escrow them at a space station to that person's username. All they had to do was send you the username. You could set up so they have 30 days to come pick it up. And it was the greatest thing ever. And then they started enforcing that, you shouldn't be able to do that. So they took ownership back away. And it's only because of crypto in the introduction of blockchain gaming that has like ownership come back to where you actually own the items you have, not, according to our terms and service, we own everything in the game. And if you use it in a way we don't like, we're going to shut you down and take out, the $10,000 you spent playing our game over the last 5 years, So it's reintroducing true ownership, that those are your items that you just earned and you can give it to someone else. And I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be very brief. It acts almost like a growth loop, right? For us, we lend out NFTs, revenues earned. We pump that revenue right back into more NFTs to lend out. And so all of a sudden you're just growing and growing and growing and providing more access for players, providing people who want to be invested in guilds. And then of course the games who need players for their games to be successful. It doesn't matter how wonderful or beautiful the game is. If they don't have the player base or the guilds to, function, they're not going to, be able to continue to thrive. And so that's one thing our platform absolutely seeks to help in that sense.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Sam. I'm, very much interested in watching what's unfolding with the guild spaces, and I've covered some of them. And I want to bring you on today to share kind of the software that's being built to make this all possible, and trying to help my audience just discuss this as it goes this way, because this is going to be huge. And crypto, one of the ways that crypto can go the fast is revolutionizing gaming, because there's not all these huge regulatory hurdles in the way.
Yes.
So probably it'll be the first area that has the massive revolutions brought to it that Web3 and cryptographical encryption coupled with blockchain will bring across even a wider spectrum outside of gaming and even outside of DeFi. So, but probably gaming the fastest is my opinion.
Yeah, all very, very excited to be part of the ecosystem and push it forward. So thank you for all these wonderful questions. Thank you to your audience for having me on. And if you want to pay attention to what we're working on, go find us on Twitter, find us on Telegram. We have a lot of really, really exciting things coming up in the next few weeks that we'll be announcing. So yeah, definitely stay tuned.
Thank you so much from Sam, and thank the Infinity Force team for lending us some of your time.
Yeah, of course. Let's do this again soon.
Sounds great.
All right.
All right. So I want to get right into one of our Kitsu giveaways. So if you know, Kitsumon is one of our strategic partners, and so I want to get right into that. Now, we've given away some Kitsu last week, but we still have some more to give away. And so I'm going to ask a question, and then I'm going to move on. D is going to watch in the answers. The first person that has the correct answer, and let me send that to D. D, I'm going to send it to you through the private thing. But first person that gets the full correct answer gets that. Wins, and then we'll need to get your Telegram name so that we can get your MetaMask address, because we'll send this to your MetaMask once we're able to. All right, so I got that information sent to him. So the question is, name the co-founders, there's 4, of Kitsumon, and the first person that has, you don't need the titles, I do need their names, at least their first names for all 4. Also, then stay tuned for the second giveaway. They'll be later this show, because we're going to announce that giveaway later this show. We'll be giving away 3 more Kitsu. Generally, it's been crazy times, right? Have you noticed the crypto market has been doing very little this past few months? Now, we hope that there was a chance that December might be good, and by the 8th or 9th of December, there wasn't enough action to really lead to the conclusion we were hoping for, which is that we would have a parabolic run this December, because the prior 4-year cycles, November and December, had been very bullish. Now, we also knew that there was a lot of information pointing to these delayed cycles, and that, or the extended cycles. And that's exactly how it's been playing out. Now, I've shown you in multiple occasions that where if we follow the extended cycles theory, that just doing like math and extrapolating, that we might have the end of the bull run as far as Bitcoin's price right at the end of May. And still, we're probably on track for that. But if we don't see some action start happening in maybe a month and a half from now, means that might not be what's playing out either. Now, with all that's been going on in the crypto space in the past few months, is it concerning to you? Or would you mind if I used a very fitting word? Frustrating. The crypto market and any market can be extremely frustrating. And I wish it was a little more predictable, but my guess was that February 3rd, if you remember just from last week, my guess was that February 3rd was likely the bottom. And for some cryptos, it is still holding February 3rd's price as the bottom. But the general market is still trending sideways, which is not what I was hoping for. Well, what is going on? Some worldwide FUD, right? Things that in the long run that should actually drive crypto up, but in the short run, they hurt the stock market, and therefore the crypto market also then takes a beating. Now, if Ukraine is invaded and taken over and made into a satellite state of Russia, should that be good for crypto? It should be, though, right? What happens to Ukraine's currency in that event that does happen? It goes to probably nothing, right? It usually loses its value. Any crypto, though, that the citizens of Ukraine bought, well, it would be decoupled from Ukraine's fiat currency. And so then they would actually be able to hold on to their monetary value, which is why the current politicians in Ukraine have been actually pushing their people towards buying cryptocurrency so that they can maintain some of their value. Another major concern going on in the world today is that U.S. President Joe Biden might pass an executive order that may be unfriendly to crypto. And this may hurt crypto in the short term. But what some politicians don't understand is that crypto is going to happen. This is the next evolution of the internet, and that politicians who try to stop it are just going to allow the massive wealth transfer of the early adopters to mostly happen to citizens of other countries. El Salvador and probably many other countries will get behind crypto, attracting billions in wealth to their shores. And other countries will miss out on much of that wealth. Perhaps many of their billionaires might even relocate to crypto friendly environments, revoking their own citizenship to crypto unfriendly countries if that becomes the US. Now, shouldn't the US be more concerned with Biden's coming executive orders than the crypto market being concerned about it? Because crypto is going to happen with or without the US. Now, this should really be something that is tackled by the US Congress and not an executive order from the president. I don't know about you. I'm okay with that, which is where it should happen, being tabled till after the upcoming elections in the US. There might be a lot more freshman congressmen and women in the US House and possibly the Senate as well, who might owe far less favors to entrenched banks and establishments with huge lobbyists who feel threatened by the advancement of crypto technology. And as my guess, next year would be a much better outcome for positive crypto legislation out of the US. And we've got a story related to that, actually a positive proposal from a US congressman we want to share with you. So where are things going to go? Well, I think as simple as this: down and then up. Isn't that what happens? In early 2021, we want to look a little bit historical at some things. Oh, by the way, do we have any answers yet?
Yeah, Jay, this is going to be a little bit of, I don't know, it's a technicality, right? So Fried Foods came in with first names of the four, and then 158 Beats, like immediately after, gave me first and last names.
I said first names were okay. So
okay, cool. All right, so Fried Food Rocks
totally goes to Fried Food Rocks. I specifically just wanted to clarify that the first names were okay. Perfect. So he was following the rules that I laid out.
Cool. So I think I've got Fried Food Rocks. I think I've 158 Beats even said, hey, give it to him. He was the first. It was super close. But yeah, so I think I've got Fried Food Rocks Telegram handle because he's won something before. So yeah, we're good to go there.
Perfect. Let's see what he got real quick. How do we go back? I want to share that.
Yeah,
oh, wow. We can do that. That's cool. Let's see if the transaction. It didn't bring up the transaction. So let me just refresh. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. I already went through the first step for him, so he didn't have to wait through it, and the audience didn't have to wait for it. But we'll watch this animation. They did a great job on this animation. Back in the early days, there was two play-to-earn games that were kind of vying for attention. This was 2.5 years ago. One was Axie Infinity. One was Gods Unchained. Gods Unchained did this amazing animation when you open their packs. It was so much fun, a lot like this.
The only thing that I don't love, I wish that it showed us a little bit longer, because that's 1 of 2,500, right? You get it just a second. But yeah,
it cycles through pretty quick. So we know what one that is for you. It is 1 of 2,500, and other than that, we missed some of the details. Pariah the Boneless. Let's see. They call me rich. They call me smart. They still call me poor. They call me stupid. Today, at least, I will reach the promised land. Love it. All right. I wanted to share with you, just a little bit of historical perspective. Now, early in 2021, there was some concerns again about the U.S. direction. Most people have forgotten about this because it actually ended fairly all right. Biden had won the vote in the U.S., and Trump was saying the election was stolen, and there was some speculation the transition might not be peaceful and that crazy things could happen in the U.S. Yet, even in that environment, let's look at the Bitcoin chart. Now, that was right around early January, and Bitcoin had been going up like this, up like this. And then there was a lot of uncertainty about that. Wow, this could be big. I mean, was the election stolen? Like, what is going on there? There's all these things out there. Are we not going to have a peaceful transition to power? And you know what? The market fell. And then it didn't, because the US does have a lot of sway in the cryptocurrency markets, and it fell. And, we look back and we almost forget about that. But one of the things I just don't forget about historical events. I mean, a lot of people do. And I say, hey, do you remember this? Like, everyone's like, no. And I'm like, wait, you don't? So I guess they just get categorized. And I remember these types of things. And I remember going through this because there was a lot of uncertainty. And sure enough, like the market took a hit. It was at 40,000, went all the way down to about 30,000, which is a huge, huge decrease after having climbed, big retracement. So it went down and then it went up. Now, a lot of people are concerned. Oh my gosh, we're in a very long bear market. The charts look terrible, but do they? Because they don't. Okay, so if it were a double top, then this would be lower than this one, and that's not what happened. This actually hit a higher high. This is still so far a higher low than here. What is this really confirming? The bull market is still on. I know a lot of people are panicking. A lot of people get worried. This isn't an indication of worry. This is an indication of a continuing pattern towards a bigger upturn cycle. So I know we're right here, right? And this is right near this bottom is the point of most concern, right? I remember just a few months back, actually, well, it was a little more than a few months back, but let me zoom in here because we had just had a big early parabolic move, right? This parabolic move came very, very early. Then if you look at what this pattern looks like, it's a head and shoulders. In fact, as of right here, when it had gone down to this, it was like, OMG, that is a total head and shoulders. But guess what didn't play out? Head and shoulders. Why? Because the massive leg of the bull market still hadn't happened. That presently at these prices, Bitcoin is still undervalued for where it should be priced at. And the pressure pressing the markets up is still there, and it's still here now. A lot of these world events, what's funny is crypto is still tied to how the equity markets and other things do in the short term. So a lot of times as these equity markets, people get scared, they panic, and in the short term, they take money out of the markets. But in the long term, they're like, wait, isn't crypto a hedge against fiat currencies going to zero or fiat currencies declining? And it's still that hedge. Bitcoin and many of the actual other projects and the technology is a hedge against countries doing poor things, making poor choices with their currency. So I'm still very bullish on what's going on. And as it goes through this craziness, I'm excited. Now,
Jay, this seems like a good time to bring up our buddy Bob's super chat. So appreciate that, Bob, as usual. How confident are you that there's still another leg of the cycle percentage-wise after all this occurred?
Still, I would weigh it about 10% that, there's so much pressure that it's going to press us below some breaking points, which then freaks some people out. And then we enter a longer crypto market. Or if like EMPs are used across the world because we enter like World War III, who knows what will happen to that? I mean, could be that temporarily blockchain does terrible and then it does even better. Who knows how that all plays out? So I still rate it about 10% that we're going to enter a longer bear market, and 90% that by May we will see huge evidence that no, we're not in a bear market. We are very much still in a bull market, and we're going to break above these numbers here and off to a run. I still think Bitcoin hits above 200,000, and because we waited so long that it probably even goes higher than that. So been holding this beach ball underwater for quite some time. I remember this early March pickup, and I was like, what the heck is happening so soon? It shouldn't be going so high so soon, so fast, and I don't know what to think about it. Then it corrected, and I remember people calling it like a 3-year bear market. Crypto winter is here, right here. and then this came out. And this was concerning coming down here, but we've seen a lot of support down here, and we're seeing that it's probably not going to make a lower low. So I think we're good. And it would be really, really weird if this bull run, crypto really just 3x'd its all-time high from the previous all-time high. That would be a really, really muted bull run. I think there's much bigger still coming. Now, just because like as we go through these things, and especially as the crazy world events make the market deviate from what it would probably be doing, there is one tool that helps us get those huge returns. And that one tool is patience. This is why not trading with leverage is so key. It's very hard to be patient when trading with leverage. But when you only invest funds that you can't afford to lose and you're not trading on leverage, patience becomes easier. Not easy, just easier. And it helps get those amazing gains that are there for only the tenacious and the patient, which is why I cover these things so often here. I mean, we're doing a different type of experiment with this channel and sharing these key things that I've learned from my 24 years experience in investing. That's true in every market, right? So some people would like do day trading courses, try to teach you to day trade. I say, well, what percentage of people make money day trading? Like 7%. Or less. Okay, so what percentage of people make money with this kind of system that I'm sharing? Well, if they remain true to it and they don't FOMO in and they buy projects with strong fundamentals and they diversify and they're patient, I don't see why it's not like the opposite of the 7% and it's at the 93%. But really, if you follow these principles, I don't know why it would only be 93%. Especially if you commit to the 5-year plan that we talk about. Be here not just for this bull run, but the crypto winter that follows, and then the bull run after that. I think it's going to end very, very well for this this experiment that we're doing on teaching these principles on a broader spectrum. I know they work for me, and it's exactly what worked for me that I'm sharing with you. But there is a lot of patience in there, and it sucks sometimes. That doesn't mean it's easy. I remember being so excited that Cardano fell down to 8 cents and I bought a whole bunch during the bear market, 8 cents. And then I watched it go to 6 cents and I bought some more. And I watched it go to 5 cents. I bought some more and I watched it go to 3 cents. I was like, oh, I wish I had waited. Oh my gosh, it's so far down. I could have got so much more and I bought it at 3 cents. And then it got wrecked with the whole rest of the crypto market. It went down to 1.7 cents. And I was like, man, I would literally have like 12 million or 15 million Cardano if I had like waited to buy it all at just even 2 cents. And it's funny how like a year later you're like, oh yeah, oh yeah. You kind of forget that, like, because you're so happy with the results, even having bought it at 8 cents. And so a lot of you were in that boat, right? That's like you put in some positions, then it's gone below, and then you put in some positions, gone below, and that happens. There's no avoiding that when you're buying cheap, that it often goes cheaper. So I know a lot of you are in that point where I was when I was in the middle of the crypto winter and it kept getting cheaper. Not that I was like completely disappointed when cheaper. I was mostly mad because I could have had so much more.
Yeah, Jay, I just barely I picked up some OMI last week or 2 weeks ago or something like that when it was at like I think I bought it at like 6-7 or something like that. And
yeah,
I mean, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have 50% more, right? Like if I bought it today. But like, I mean, for one thing, I feel like living like that is just a way to drive yourself crazy, right? Because do I think that OMI is going to go above 6-7 and like way beyond that? Yes, of course I do. So like, I think that you just have to, accept like that what you did was what you needed to do at the time, right? And like, can you learn a little bit from it? Sure. But like, did it happen the way that it was supposed to happen? Like, that's how I have to live my life, right? Is believing that like I did what was best for me at the time. And, and here we go, right? Like, let's see what happens. Because again, I think that if you live your life that way, where you're just like, oh, like microanalyzing every single decision that you've made time and time again, I think that you'll drive yourself crazy, literally.
Yeah, well said, right? And we all drive ourselves crazy a little bit with that, right? That we all wish we could, and we wish we had that magic crystal ball. But just like the ones you bought at Walmart mine came from Walmart too. It doesn't work very well. So like, it's just his life that we make our guesses and we try to make our best guesses. And that's why this system works generally. Though if it worked exactly, well, then we'd all be worth like 150 million to 7 billion by now, because we would know at the exact bottoms and the exact tops of everything. And nobody knows that. I've been watching the chat. This is awesome. Thank you. Pariah says this channel is criminally underrated. I got such of the most powerful alpha here, at least while things were moving up. Thank you for that. Yeah, we've made a choice that we don't go with the stuff that we know will lead to higher subscriber numbers faster. If we just talk about what's pumped tremendously every single day, we'll get way more viewers because that's what people are searching for. And that's okay. We've gone this route that like we want it to grow because then it gives us more good giveaways. Speaking of giveaways, we have an awesome one for you. So let me tell you what the second question is. Then we're going to get into some news. This is for our other Kitsu giveaway. For those on the live stream and those watching this on replay, specifically geared this so that you could enter this. I want you, not in the chat section, but in the comments of the video. In the comments, I want you to tell me which game you think is going to be the biggest blockchain game in the coming 2 years. And more importantly, you have to include this, or I won't count it as an entry, why you feel it's going to be the biggest game. And there's no right and wrong answers here, but I want to see your logic behind it and your guess. And we will give away 3 Kitsus to 3 of you that do a very detailed answer to the question. And on Friday's live stream, we'll go through some of those answers and we will pick our winners so that those that are joining this that can't watch it live, but on the replay, they get a chance to enter this. And so we'll give away 3 of those Kitsu this Friday. We want to thank Kitsumon for being so generous with these giveaways to our audience. That's been awesome. Let's jump into the news. Boy, there was this big OpenSea exploit. That was freaking scary.
I didn't hear about that.
Oh yeah, Dr. Stuff reached out to me. He's like, "You're not on OpenSea, are you? You didn't update to the new contract, did you?"
Right.
And I'm
Yeah.
like,
No, it was
no,
all.
I'm on a date with my wife.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at crypto in like 4 hours.
That's all anybody was talking about over the weekend.
Yeah. So essentially what happened now, whether this was OpenSea that sent this out, it seems like somebody sent out some, it's called catfishing or whatever. What is it called? Where they like send out an email making it look like it's from
just phishing, right?
Yeah. And so then some people ran that part of the contract because even if they looked at the contract, they didn't see any malicious code there, but only executed half of the contract. So then the malicious code was then executed later to complete it, essentially transferring any things that those people had listed. It allowed this other person to essentially take control of them and buy them for no fees. So, there was $1.7 million lost. Woo. OpenSea investigating the exploit as rumors, says users complain of missing NFTs. So, emails purporting to be from the NFT marketplace about a planned smart contract migration may have been a phishing attack. So, yeah, they got catfished. Man, that's rough. A couple of people lost their Bored Apes. Those, oh man, that's heartbreaking. That's like losing the title to a home. Okay, I wanted to talk about this upcoming one, and this I'm going to talk about more. I've kind of thought about this for a while, and I've been waiting for somebody to do this and do this right. Anyone play Pokemon Go? I had to play it for at least 2 weeks to figure out, wow, this whole geolocation thing is going to revolutionize the world at some point, right? Like, great idea. And what better game, like Pokemon has such a great brand name that people like it, that you like. What's funny is for years I saw people like at parks and everything walking around. I would see couples both looking at their phone, like crazy engagement and interaction. I've been waiting for something like that in the crypto space. And I bet some of you have too, right? Thinking, when is this really going to hit the crypto space in a very real way? Well, there's a project called Dropp that's coming out. And Dropp is doing a couple interesting things. Number one, this is also backed by Animoca Brands. I think it's also backed by Alameda Research, which is Sam Bankman-Fried. So two of the best investors you can have behind you in the crypto space are those two. And Dropp is doing some land sales. And if you go to their Medium, you can look at their Medium and read on the land sales. It's not quite clear how to participate, but they're going to be doing LA first. And you can buy some hexagons that actually map to real neighborhoods and real areas and real businesses. And there's different sizes, and sizes will give you a different like number of hexes, and the hexes, like it's all broken down to hexes, but this actually conveys to real land. And they're going through, first of all, they're going to do a launch pad, and they're going to launch AAA tier 1 industry leader influencers, brands, organization, NFT collections. So Dropp is going to be kind of a launch pad for top tier NFT collections and probably other games and stuff. They're having a metaverse component to their land, bridging the physical world to the metaverse world. In other words, so probably I'd imagine somewhere in LA, in like a really nice area of town, there's like a nice Nike store somewhere. Well, probably Nike would either try to buy the land that correlates their store, or somebody already has it, and they have to partner with the person that has that to be able to drop. Say they want to drive a whole bunch of people to their store that day, and they're going to drop some NFTs in that. Maybe you buy a pair of Nikes from that store and you get a box. What is it? Like a random box. What do they call those when you're not quite clear what you're going to get? A mystery box, where you get a chance of getting the ultra rare NFT sneakers or whatever, right? But they want to correlate to that store and give the giveaway there. Well, first of all, they have to pay the person that owns that virtual land to be able to do that there. So they pay them a fee, but then it drives a bunch of people there, kind of like what you saw with Pokemon Go, maybe at the park and stuff. Drives a whole bunch of people to the store that day so that they can get the NFTs locally, because they have to be geolocated in order to get it at certain times. Or they can run a program worldwide that everywhere they have a Nike store, you can participate. So all of a sudden, everyone goes to the Nike store that day because they want to get the NFTs. Isn't that amazing? So that's what their Dropp 3D augmented reality. Oh, no, part 3 is a Dropp 3D augmented reality integration. I haven't seen what this looks like, but they're trying to put in a gamification twist utilizing the geo-minting technology to mint the NFTs in the real world, and they call it a play-to-earn model. So I don't think I've yet read one of the Medium articles that really kind of explains that, but this was kind of what I've been waiting for to happen. And backing of Animoca Brands and Alameda Research, probably going to be the project that hits this and get enough traction. So they will be doing some land sales, and I think they're going to be running on the Solana blockchain, but I don't know too much more than that. You can go to their Medium page and read their articles they have specific to this. I would keep an eye on this because I am so bullish on virtual land, on projects such as this, but also other ones that will be huge. I've talked about network land, and I shared that they were on OpenSea. Do you guys know the price just doubled over the last week? I don't know what caused this, but I looked the other day and the floor was 0.72, and now it's at 1.293 as of right now, the floor price on buy nows. So, yeah. The cheapest one is right here, and then it quickly goes to 1.3 and then up from there. So virtual land, and what is essential is it's in high quality projects, because even though somebody's doing a virtual land sale, if the project doesn't amount to anything, their virtual land isn't going to amount to anything either. But on the projects that do really well, it's going to be huge. And it's unfortunate that this price has spiked up so much. So 0.72, I wish I could have covered it more while it was cheaper. And someday this price will seem cheap. So roughly, let's say ETH is at $3,000. It's now gone to like, what would that be? $3,700 or whatever for an entry level piece of land. NFT World's floor price is up to 18 ethers. So the past weeks, it's been skyrocketing. That's probably what's driving it, is just people are going to this other stuff. I shared with those on our private Discord that I loaded up on Ember Swords land I was only able to get one on drop 2. I didn't have any special advantages or anything. I bought one on the second round because the first round I submitted a transaction and it got stuck and I had to watch all of it sell. On the second round, I had to make an application like everyone else. I got approved for one. I bought one. So I since bought like 14 more because I'm very bullish on these land sales on projects that have a good level of success. Okay, on to other news. Who likes U.S. football? I mean, we just had the Super Bowl and had a special Super Bowl special, but there's some crypto enthusiasts that are trying to raise $4 billion in order to buy the Denver Broncos, which is going on sale. And so they're going to try to raise it through crypto, which would be fascinating if they're able to do that.
I think if it was literally any other team, I would probably do it.
You're like, why
But I
can't it
can't-
be the Kansas City Chiefs?
Why can't it be the
I'm in.
Chiefs? Like, yeah, I'm not paying anything for the donkeys, man. That's but no, it's crazy, right? Like to think about this. And will they raise $4 billion? I doubt it. Will they be the people who win the bid if they raise $4 billion? I kind of doubt it, but it's interesting, right?
It is interesting. If they were like names that I really, really trusted, I would probably throw some money at it. But I don't know anything about the people behind it, and it makes a big difference, right? I'm not just going to give my money to anyone because even if they do raise the money to get the winning bid, they have to get approved, right? And I'm just not seeing big enough names that it would get approved. Because isn't there something about when you sell to professional teams, like you still have to get approval even if you have the money? I don't remember how that works.
Yeah, I mean, it generally has to go through like the board of governors of like, you know, the league itself and like the commissioner and that sort of a thing. So like, I doubt that that's going to happen.
So
but
yeah,
it's an amazing
protections put in place so Kim Jong-il can't come in and like buy a professional team, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So even though the NBA allowed, you know, a Russian billionaire to buy the New Jersey Nets a few years back. So, yeah, Randy Crypto Savage says, yeah, it needs to be approved by the association. So,
Okay.
but yeah,
we'll
it's
have
interesting.
We'll have D run it because I know I can trust him, and
Yeah.
he would definitely get approved.
Yeah, just
But
to
not
buy
for the
Chiefs.
Broncos, I guess.
Not for them old donkeys, but yeah. Hey, we're up against it a little bit, 57-15. So just as a heads up.
Perfect. Thank you. Keep your coins. This was what I want to share with you. This is interesting. And this is why I hope Congress doesn't touch it till next year. This guy is on the Republican side of the aisle. A U.S. congressman has introduced the Keep Your Coins Act in order to preserve Americans' right to privacy in transacting with crypto assets. The lawmaker says this legislation would prohibit any federal agency from promulgating a rule that would impair a person's ability to act as a self-custodian. Hallelujah. There is some sanity coming from the U.S. U.S. lawmaker seeks to protect privacy in crypto transactions with the Keep Your Coin Act. No third party should be required for two people or companies to use money as a means of exchange, store of value, and record of account. This bill ensures that individuals will always have the ability to transact without intermediaries, which sounds amazing. The likelihood of this getting through, I would say, he's probably not in close friendship with Nancy Pelosi, who would have to get behind this to push it through. I just don't see that happening, but I like that there's some people out there that are thinking right on this. Love it. Vitalik Buterin says, yeah, we might be in a crypto winter. Even if we are, I'm not worried. That's what we had. There was this one that you wanted to talk about. Do we have time?
I mean, sure. Like we've got about 1 minute. Yeah. So I mean, this is interesting, right? This is just kind of the very first, or they're saying it's the first multi-chain DEX that's going to be going between blockchains. So yeah, I mean, you know, right now they're on Binance and a bunch. Basically they're saying, you know, it's a cross-chain DEX aggregator with competitive features. It becomes a super aggregator combining DEXs, including Uniswap, SushiSwap, Bancor, DEX aggregators like Paraswap, Matcha, 1inch, cross-chain DEXs like Thorchain. So they're basically just trying to, you know, they said that right now they're on 27 blockchains. but they're shooting for more that are going to be available in 2022. So
notice this: they're crossing into bridges such as the Terra Bridge and Cosmos IBC. So this is the kind of way of the future, in that governments have a real hard time shutting this type of thing down, even if they try.
Yeah, this is called Rango Exchange, fried food rocks, just so you know. So, yeah, and this is something I honestly didn't have much time to look into it at all. It just seemed interesting to me. So, check it out if you guys want, and I'll be looking a little bit more into it in the next coming couple days.
If you haven't already, make it rain on that like button, and we're out of time. So we will catch you next time. No rain, no game.